BYU Sports Nation, the future of BYU football is right now. All I want for Christmas is the next BYU legend. Is that too much to ask in the early signing period?
Kalani Sitake joins us live from Boise. What he thinks of the early signees and how are preparations for Western Michigan coming?
Plus, that's my nephew. Well, it's David Nixon's. Which future Cougar has elite linebacker heritage? Let's go.
This is BYU Sports Nation, brought to you by The BYU Store, simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now, from Studio B, here's Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan.
BYU Sports Nation is live, your day-to-day play-by-play in Studio B, presented by The BYU Store, the official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. His name is Jacob Conover, out of the great state of Arizona, Chandler to be specific, 6'1", 205 pounds. Highly touted four-star recruit according to 247 Sports, Rivals, and ESPN. Jacob Conover has known nothing but winning state championships as the starting quarterback in Chandler.
3 straight titles. This is Gunnar Romney's quarterback in high school. This guy's been a wannabe Cougar for life, and now he is, which is awesome.
Aaron Roderick has had several nice things to say about Jacob Conover, including this.
He just makes plays a lot of different ways. You know, he can make every throw. He extends plays. He shows great leadership. He's super smart, and you can just tell he's a guy that people follow. You know, he's the kind of guy that everybody plays hard for him.
But he was heavily recruited, and he's a winner. Aaron Roderick talked about that as well.
Well, first and foremost, he's a winner. I mean, he's won so many games the last 3 years, three straight state championships, and he's one of the best passers in the history of Arizona, maybe the best passer in the history of the state of Arizona. So we're getting a really good player.
That's the same state of Arizona as John Beck and Max Hall. And Carter Wheat, who is hoping to join the ranks and the level of Matt Bushman and Dallin Holker and Moroni Laulupututau. In fact, let's hear from tight ends coach Steve Clark on what Carter Wheat brings to BYU football.
His ability to run routes. He was very polished in the route running, in their route running, what they had him doing. Very good getting in and out of his breaks.
6'4", 225, another Arizona kid out of Mesa and Red Mountain High School. Steve Clark obviously likes him, as you just heard from him. He is a BYU legacy kid. His father, Warren, played offensive line for BYU from the mid to late 80s, 85 to 88. And this is a kid that has been in on BYU for a very long time.
And he would have played against Jacob Conover, by the way. I bet those guys know each other. Maybe they're friends.
Already mentioned Keanu Hill, but what else are you looking for from the wide receiver specifically in this signing class?
Really just dynamic playmakers, you know, guys who can, when the ball's up in the air, the only mentality is to come down with the ball.
And at 33 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals in a 112-106. Shanghai Sharks lost to the Shenzhen Leopards yesterday in China. Fredetta scored at least 30-plus in 5 straight games.
Joining us now from Boise, Idaho, as we continue our early signing day coverage is the head football coach from BYU, Kalani Sitake. Coach, we just saw a bunch of guys make their way down the tubing hill at Bogus Basin. We understand that all the coaches got in on this as well. Did you survive? How's the recovery after tubing down Bogus Basin?
It was fun, yeah. The best part wasn't actually sliding down the hill, is that they had a conveyor belt that helped us move up the hill. So that was my kind of sledding, my kind of tubing. I could do that all day.
In fact, let's roll out our stat of the day about one of our signees.
It's the BYU Sports Nation stat of the day.
You heard us talk about it with Kalani Sitake. Michael Daly, the most recent official signee, linebacker out of Alpine, Utah, Lone Peak High School, had 24 and a half sacks
24 and a half
as
is insane.
Senior.
That's insane.
That's an average of like 2 a game. Let's hear from his uncle, David Nixon, joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. What can you tell us about Michael Daly?
BYU fans should be excited for Michael Daly. He's 6'3", 225, defensive end. He'll play linebacker, outside linebacker at BYU. There's a kid that lives in the backfield. He has 76 tackles on the year at Lone Peak. 40 and a half of those were tackles for loss. And keep in mind, He had 24.5 sacks. Yeah, 24.5. That's number 2 in the country, number 1 in the state. He was a 6A MVP. And one thing he also does well, he blocks punts, 4 block punts for Lone Peak, the state champs this year. I'm excited for him. His skills are off the charts. He's quick. He's fast. He's going to be a disruptor. BYU fans look forward to him on Saturdays in the backfield, getting sacks, just like his uncle did.
Yes, just like David Nixon did. Joining us on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.
Was David in the library?
Or he's putting on the 16th green somewhere. Hey, Kalani Sitake mentioned a few return missionaries also coming back to the program. And that takes us to our Elite Voice of the Day, presented by Sundance Mountain Resort, celebrating 50 years. Jake Oldroyd, remember him with the green cleats?
The kicker.
At Jake Oldroyd 39 on Twitter. 2 words, I'm back.
What is he, Michael Jordan?
At Johnny Lenahan responds, the greatest kicker I have ever seen is back from his 2-year training camp. Can't wait to see what he does next.
Camp. Yeah, in Brazil, they've got a ton of field goal posts he can kick through. Get out of here. Conversation continues 24/7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Use the hashtag BYUS.
Oh, for Jerem, I am Spencer. Shout out to all the BYU kickers, including Ethan Pochman.
And all the
Owen
signees.
Pochman.
Welcome to the family. Excited to have you at BYU.
Let's go. That wraps up our early signing period coverage. Bowl game on Friday. Go Cougs. Where does the new head coach begin? What's the plan?
We will be wholehearted. It's an important word. We will be wholehearted in everything we do. We will be relentless every minute, every day, 24/7, chasing excellence on this team, relentless. And we will be together. And in all those ways, it will be our goal to represent this university and this community.
Relentless, together. I like those words. Jerem, a day later, what do you think of the hire?
I really like it. I think that was probably BYU's number 1 guy on the list, and I think they got the number 1 guy. He's a tremendous salesman, right? Presenter, motivator, recruiter. I think that's a big deal in 2019. Obviously, there's an X's and O's element to it, and I think he's good at that as well. But I think his number 1 strength is what we saw yesterday in the press conference. I think BYU's 1-0. As for the roster, the head coach is not beholden to keep all the guys. We're not looking at it that way either. He could look at the roster and say, you and you and you don't have a scholarship.
And you're not a good fit for my program.
If he wants, right? I mean, he can keep whoever he wants. But the roster as of now, Nick Emery, TJ Haas, Jesse Wade, Connor Harding, Trevin Nell off a mission, Colby Leifson off a mission.
Bring it. Oh, nope.
Those ones.
Yeah.
I want you to throw those on and tell me how
this is my size.
Yeah, tell me how the world looks through those blue goggles.
Let's go. This is fantastic. Can I keep these here? I'm going to wear these around all day, man. This is like the new thing, isn't it?
Mark Pope's going to be able to go to a number of places. Is it BYU?
I think it'd be a hotter candidate if he made the NCAA tournament. I think instantly, boom, he could make the jump, right? So I don't think like the year has happened yet for him. But what role, if any, did the departure of Coach Rose have on this decision?
I don't think it had too much of an impact on the decision. I think it just more had to do with where I'm at with my game right now and how I feel about my ability to play at the next level.
Who do you hand the torch off to, if you will?
Live from Las Vegas, BYU basketball hoping 8 is great. 8 years in the West Coast Conference. What are your realistic expectations this time around?
BYU basketball head coach Dave Rose will join us to discuss preparations for an unknown opponent. And will Gavin Baxter play Saturday?
Plus BYU's number 1 in at least 2 things today. Hashtag quest for perfection. Let's go.
BYU should finish 2-1 with a loss to Gonzaga. We all know that's going to happen. That's just a guarantee. We talked about this.
Well, we thought it was a guarantee several years ago.
We talked about this earlier.
Ask my haircut.
It's such a guarantee. It's such a guarantee, I'm not even going to pray for it. Nope.
That's an impressive group of kids. And I say kids, they're young men. But, I know that they're young in age and experience, but they have experience, if that makes sense. So it's not like they're totally green, but it's not like they're, 24 games into their career either. So that helps a lot. I know that I watched one game of film yesterday, the New Mexico State game, and they're just big, lean, got great stature. I mean,